Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Lost Bots. I'm your host with a verified lesser amount of tattoos, Stephen Davis. I'm joined by my partner in crime, Jeffrey Gardner, and in today's episode, we will be going over the worst and best Hollywood cybersecurity fails in this segment titled Highly Weird versus Reality. So a little bit of background on this episode. I came up with the idea when thinking about back when I was in the military. Me and some of my military buddies would be bored. We'd start watching some movies. Any of those old movies would have some military stuff in them, or it might be complete military movies that oftentimes had some pretty hilarious inaccuracies. So we would just go around ripping into the fact that that's not accurate at all. This is not how it works. If anybody's a current vet or active in the military or reserve, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Jeffrey, you're up. What is your nomination for when Hollywood got it wrong?
So I'm not going back in time super far, but it should be a movie that most of us have seen. So my nomination is Swordfish with Hugh Jackman, John Travolta, and all the rest. So the reason why. So we've all probably seen it, but if you haven't, there's a specific scene in the movie. It's called the hacking scene. Where Wolverine's being escorted by Catwoman and Bullet-Tooth Tony to go meet Vincent Vega. I'm using a bunch of different references here. They sit down, stick a gun to his head, among other things in that scene, and say, hack this login screen to the DoD. So he starts, flash to a computer screen. You see compiler, mail, admin, and then hacker hands go brrr, and you just starts typing things and you see things line up. But if you look really closely, you'll see all kinds of nonsense. And my favorite piece of nonsense on the screen was it says like, character buffer 200, and on the right side of the screen you see an IP address, and if you zoom in you're like, wait a minute, 312.5.125.233, something's wrong with this. But what really grinds my gears is like the back end stuff with that movie. So from the director's commentary, the director actually had a tech guy on staff to kind of keep things realistic, but he was like, I want things to be as over the top as possible, because even though he knew a lot of nerds were going to watch the film, there's such a niche audience that he didn't really care about what they thought of the movie. And when I hear something like that, I just go, no, never. Like, I don't like any of it. But that whole scene where there's a bunch of parts when he starts compiling, you just see these objects coming together, and he makes the Hydra or whatever the heck it was called, which even though there is a tool called Hydra, which you can use to brute force passwords, which, kudos to thinking in the future, but still, for that version of Hydra, no, it's just garbage. What about you, man?
I mean, right off the break, dude, that whole gun to the head scene. I mean, talk about a tough interview.
Yeah.
I thought, my interview with Rapid 7 was pretty hard, but that kind of takes the cake. And other areas of that scene, I would like to know what some of the other benefits package of that particular company.
Do you get health? Do you get dental? I mean, with 401k?
401k. All right, so my worst, I'm gonna have to go with kind of like the silver screen with NCIS. The episode I believe is in season 2, episode 5, called The Boneyard. You can very easily pull this episode up on YouTube, aptly named Two Idiots, One Keyboard. And it's essentially when the NCIS is getting hacked. The verbiage that they use in there, they're burning through the firewall. DoD level 9 encryption is part of their defense. And what really cemented this episode as my worst nomination is when she needed help. I can't remember the lady's name, but when she needed help, her co-patriot, whatever you want to call her partner, jumped on the same keyboard she was using, and they both were in such complete synergy. They were both typing together to try and counter this hack.
Well, dude, level 9 encryption, you gotta have 2 hands on 1 keyboard, man.
Right?
Like, how else are you gonna get around that paper firewall that you're burning holes through?
Exactly. And at the very end of this, they can't seem to get rid of the hacker. They did mention that the hacker, he or she, was targeting their machine. So at the very end of that little clip, I can't remember the guy's name, it's Don Johnson or something like that, pulls out a power plug, and that ends the hacking scene, although the monitor also powered off. So we don't really know if he just pulled the monitor power cable. He apparently in that show doesn't know much about cyber, let alone technology. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just pulled out the monitor cable. But yeah, also another great thing about that scene is the hacker made himself or herself known by the just sheer amount of pop-ups that were just flying on this computer screen. So that is my personal nomination for worst, cybersecurity fails for this particular.
I think you win. I think you win the worst round. Because while mine's kind of annoying, I don't really think anyone kind of beats two people hammering on one keyboard while fighting adware and a level 9 encryption. So I mean, you take the cake, dude. Congrats.
I appreciate it, man. And if you want to get your SOC trained, have them start practicing two people on a single keyboard.
Yeah,
that's
tomorrow. And make sure it's ergonomic. You gotta get one of those split things.
Right.
You don't want people's wrists getting hurt. Yeah.
So, yep, do that. Yeah. So we should be able to do that. Yeah. All right. Let's kick off the best or the most realistic one that you have found.
All right. So I'm gonna go with one that's also a silver screen, small screen, whatever you like to call it. Mr. Robot. It's something we probably already have heard of, maybe we've seen. And it's the most realistic, I'm not gonna say it's real, but the attacks that are on that show are plausible. So they're realistic. And the reason why is the writer, technology producer for it, I think his name's, I don't know, his or her name is Cor Adana. They actually have a background in cybersecurity. They had a team of hackers and two FBI cybersecurity advisors to come in and like develop the storylines, because they know the fans will go and actually frame by frame pause it like I did with Swordfish. And they even go so far as to make sure like the IP addresses, the URLs, QR codes, like software, everything is real. So like if you visit the URLs on that, you can actually go to the URLs that are on the show and it's real websites that exist. So, they break down the tools, they lead puzzles. I just thought it was a really good example because it's the only one that goes to that level to make it like if someone in the business actually looks at it and goes, I can see that happening, because like all the preparation that went behind it. What about you, dude?
It's a phenomenal show, man. I do really I can never pronounce the guy's name, the lead actor in there.
The guy from the latest Bond. I don't remember it either. Yeah.
Also his portrayal of Queen.
Yeah.
Forgetting that guy's name too. But yeah, fantastic.
Freddie Mercury.
Yes, thank you. Great show. Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit out of the box for my best cyber, aka security, Hollywood kind of got it right thing, and I'm going 1993 Jurassic Park. And the reason I'm doing this, hear me out.
All right.
The reason I'm doing this is John Hammond spent millions on everything but Dennis Nedry and their computer automation systems. One guy, all of that work. And that's realistic.
Yeah.
Because think about it, all these companies spend all this money and IT budget is always whatever, first to get slashed, last to be cared about. And the fact that, if you read the book from Michael Crichton, Dennis Nedry, the character, had a way of, he always built trapdoors so that he could get into any of the systems that he designed and he built automation for, which means he was a disgruntled employee so that he could then go back in there and steal stuff when he needed it. So when you underpay your staff, and also in the book, Hammond was constantly giving him more tasks to do than he was contractually obligated for.
That doesn't sound realistic at all.
Exactly. So that's my top pick for when Hollywood got it right, because that hit close to home. Anybody who's worked in the IT industry, in desktop support or as a manager or CISO or anything, has faced that mounting shortage, but all of this, like as far as money, but then all of this giant mountain of tasks that you have to do more with less, do more with less. That includes people, that includes money, but yet he spared no expense when it came to ice cream flavors and, night vision goggles and the Jeeps and all that stuff. So that's my personal got it right. Good job, Hollywood. Plus, I'm a huge dinosaur fan. So
I like it, man. I like you took a different tack instead of just going purely technical. You looked at the whole scope of the whole person per se of the character Nedry, and really psychologically broke down his motivations for leaving back doors and everything else, which is still my favorite part of it. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
fact that he tried to store it in a little shaving cream, like Barbasol
Barbasol.
shaving cream can, like that's fantastic.
Classic, man. It was so good. So yeah, that's definitely my best one. I do have to say I have a just a little sneak in here. I have an honorable mention for the worst that came in
Okay.
a little
All
bit
right.
below my NCIS. Hopefully time permits. I'm gonna go with the first Independence Day. We all know the scene where uh not was it Ian Malcolm?
No.
No,
Yeah,
that's
no, it was. It was. I think that's his name. Yeah.
that his name in Jurassic Park.
Will
Anyway.
Smith and the other dude.
Yeah. Jeff Goldblum, that's his name. Jeff Goldblum was able to connect to the alien species mothership and upload his virus. So many plot holes with that. I don't know if we have time to get into them. Binary, this is an advanced warrior race. Yes, it's a hive mind. Maybe they didn't need to worry about AV, but their smallest ships have shields because they are a warrior race. How come they didn't protect their systems? And I mean, God, how did they even connect to the mothership to begin with in space on a laptop?
Yeah.
Moving
We're running a Pentium, I don't know what year it was, but let's just call it a Pentium 2 or some kind of PLS laptop that's like 16 inches thick, weighs 50 pounds. Somehow all this advanced tech, near, communications capabilities, light years, all that stuff, but yet basic authentication seems to have, just jumped the shark, and you can just plug in and boom, you get open access to everything on the network. Like that's kind of realistic in a way, not too far off.
True. But also, what was the battery life of that laptop? How long did it take them to get to the mothership? I know.
Now you're just going down rabbit holes, dude.
I mean, I could go down rabbit holes all day, but I mean, there's so many. They bring a battery pack. Did the ship come with like an AC power outlet? Hopefully they brought their universal power adapter.
Yeah. Was it USB? Was it Cat 2? Like, how did it work? I don't know.
I don't know. Good stuff though, man. But yeah, so that's my honorable mention.
I like the honorable mention. I like everything we've talked about today. So we've reached the end point of the episode. Not really any big, huge key takeaways, because this was more just, something fun that we both kind of thought about and noodled and thought it would make a fun episode. So thank you all for joining us, and we hope to have more of these type of episodes in the future. Hope you all have a great day. Take care.